The following presentation is best experienced with headphones.
Greetings, honored guest, and welcome to the House of Branching Paths. Please step inside and follow me. Today, the circle is once again meeting in the garden to celebrate the fine weather that has come to the house of late. More of the house's old connections have been restored recently, as well as more of our grand decorations. I am sure that when we arrive, you will notice the garden's great gargoyles have returned and are once more spewing forth their waterfalls. You may even note that the floors are less creaky of late, and we of course have you to thank for it. Please enjoy your time in the garden. I leave you now with the circle. Hello, honored guest. Please join us around the fire. We have decided to enjoy a spot of celebratory tea here in the garden. Of course, we have brought plenty to share. Please help yourself.
Emrys, you won't believe who I spoke to the other day.
Well, I might believe it. Try me.
None other than the Mad Hatter.
Ah, yes, a most splendid fellow. Did you discuss his...
Oh, yes, his question is always the first topic of conversation. Why is a raven like the writing desk?
Did your answer suffice?
My answer changes a bit every time I go there. No matter how logically I think it out before I leave, I can never get the words out quite right when I'm there.
Logic. Well, there's a word one wouldn't associate with Wonderland.
Certainly not.
However did you get there? I've only tried through the looking glass, and I didn't quite make it in one piece. That was a day.
Well, I can only imagine. Well, for our honored guests, you may not know that I am able to travel through all waters. No matter where you are, magical, logical, land or not, all of the realms have water. I simply hop on a drop headed down.
Down?
Well, in order to reach Wonderland, you must first go down to reach up. Then, of course, you must make a right, but you must first go wrong. You may only turn around once a day, and if you've made it that far, it's only a few steps to short.
Yes, of course.
You know, it's simply been years since I've seen dear Alice.
Perhaps she could join us. The circle is always in need of a good tea party, and I do love the good advice and input of the people of Wonderland.
Advice. Yes, I do love the wording of Wonderlanders. You know, that reminds me of a story Alice once told me.
Well, my friend, speaking of stories, I do believe I see the crackle of a story on those flames.
The fire burns bright, with stories ever knowing.
And this will be a special telling from the realm we know as Wonderland.
Yes, however, our honored guests may remember this story from a very popular novel by one Lewis Carroll.
Published in the winter of 1865, not long after his own journey to Wonderland.
Yes, but not many know that story.
But they do, of course, know
The Adventures of Alice in Wonderland. Alice had only arrived in Wonderland earlier that day, or so she thought.
And had already been many different sizes due to a simple cake.
We join her now, where she has found her wanderings have taken her to the gardens of Wonderland.
There was a large mushroom growing near Alice, about the same height as herself. She decided to go up to it. She thought to herself,
Well, how extraordinarily odd. A mushroom this size.
Alice looked under it, and on both sides of it, and behind it, and it occurred to her that she might as well look and see what was on top of it as well. She stretched herself up on tiptoe and peeped over the edge of the mushroom and found a surprise.
Oh! I met eyes with those of a large blue caterpillar that was sitting on top with its arms folded, and taking not the smallest notice of me or of anything else. The caterpillar and I looked at each other for a long time.
Though time had really come to mean nothing in Wonderland.
At last the caterpillar addressed me in a languid, sleepy voice.
Who are you?
I hardly know just at present. At least, I know who I was when I got up this morning, but I think I must have changed several times since then.
What do you mean by that? Said the caterpillar.
I can't explain myself, I'm afraid, because I'm not myself, you see.
I don't see.
I'm afraid I can't put it more clearly, for I can't understand it myself to begin with, and being so many different sizes in a day is very confusing.
It isn't.
Well, perhaps you haven't found it so yet, but when you have to turn into a chrysalis, you will some day, you know, and then after that into a butterfly, I should think you'll feel a little odd, won't you?
Not a bit.
Well, perhaps your feelings may be different. All I know is I would feel very odd to me.
You? Who are you?
Alice was quite frustrated with the circle this conversation was making, so she told the caterpillar, I think you ought to tell me who you are first.
Why?
Alice turned away at that point, as with anything in this world, this was going nowhere. But the caterpillar called out,
Come back. I have something important to say.
Alice only turned because this was the first promising sentence she had heard all day. But the answer to her turning back left her with more questions as the caterpillar asked again.
Who are you?
Is that all? Alice remarked.
No.
I have never encountered a more rude caterpillar.
So you think you're changed, do you?
I'm afraid I am. I can't remember things as I used to, and I don't keep the same size for 10 minutes together.
Can't remember what things?
Well, I've tried to say, how doth the little busy bee, but it all came out different.
Repeat, you are old, Father William.
All right. You are old, Father William, the young man said, and your hair has become very white, and yet you incessantly stand on your head. Do you think at your age it is right? In my youth, Father William replied to his son, I feared it might injure the brain, but now I'm perfectly sure I have none why I do it again and again.
That is not said right.
Not quite right, I'm afraid. Some of the words have got altered.
It is wrong from beginning to end. What size do you want to be?
Oh, I'm not particular to size, only one doesn't like changing so often, you know.
I don't know.
Alice felt she was losing her temper. She answered the caterpillar, I should like to be a little larger, if you wouldn't mind. 3 inches is such a wretched height to be.
It is a very good height indeed.
The caterpillar was exactly 3 inches high.
You'll get used to it in time.
The caterpillar yawned once or twice and shook itself. Then it got down off the mushroom and crawled away into the grass, merely remarking as it went,
One side will make you grow taller, and the other side will make you grow shorter.
One side of what? The other side of what? Thought Alice to herself.
Of the mushroom, said the caterpillar, just as if she had asked it aloud, and in another moment it was out of sight.
Alice remained looking thoughtfully at the mushroom for a moment, trying to make out which were the 2 sides of it, and as it was perfectly round, she found this a very difficult question.
However, at last she stretched her arms round it as far as they would go, and broke off a bit of the edge with each hand. She thought to herself,
And now which is which?
She was answered again by that question that plagued her. Who are you?
The end. Who are you?
It is a puzzling question, especially when asked repeatedly.
Even more puzzling in Wonderland. Although, not many have actually visited Wonderland. Honoured guests, we should tell you all about the wonderful and some terrifying creatures of Wonderland.
Now, I'm not sure if we have time for all of them. Choose one.
One? I can't choose just one. That's like choosing which sea animal is my favourite.
We could choose one that is a combination of several creatures.
Oh, yes. I know which one you're talking about. The Jabberwock. Oh, it's a truly marvellous creature. It is classified as a chimera, or a mixture of several animals.
Yes, it's quite intimidating, with the body of a dragon, a fish-like head, and talon-like hands on its arms and wings.
And they're just the sweetest little baby dragons.
I don't think most would agree with you.
Just don't know how to talk to them. They love little head pats, too.
You're much braver than most, I believe. However, honoured guests, we did actually receive a piece of poetry about this particular creature in this realm not long after Alice's Adventures in Wonderland was written.
Yes, in Lewis Carroll's sequel, written in 1871, called Through the Looking Glass.
Yes, quite right, dear friend. We have a poem from this novel entitled
The Jabberwocky. Beware the Jabberwock, my son,
the jaws that bite,
the claws that catch. Beware the Jubjub bird, and shun the frumious Bandersnatch.
'Twas brillig, and the slithy toves did gyre and gimble in the wabe. All mimsy were the borogroves, and the mome raths outgrabe.
Beware the Jabberwock, my son,
the jaws that bite,
the claws that catch. Beware the Jubjub bird, and shun the frumious Bandersnatch. He took his vorpal sword in hand, long time the manxome foe he sought. So rested he by the tum-tum tree, and stood a while in thought. Beware the Jabberwock, my son,
the jaws that bite,
the claws that catch. Beware the Jubjub bird, and shun the frumious Bandersnatch.
And as in uffish thought he stood, the Jabberwock, with eyes of flame, came whiffling through the Tolgay wood, and burbled as it came.
Beware the Jabberwock, my son,
the jaws that bite,
the claws that catch. Beware the Jubjub bird, and shun the frumious Bandersnatch. 1, 2, 1, 2, and through the vorpal blade went snicker-snack. He left it dead, and with its head he went galumphing back. Beware the Jabberwock, my son,
the jaws that bite,
the claws that catch. Beware the Jubjub bird, and shun the frumious Bandersnatch.
And hast thou slain the Jabberwock? Come to my arms, my beamish boy. Oh, frabjous day, callooh callay, he chortled in his joy.
Beware the Jabberwock, my son,
the jaws that bite,
the claws that catch. Beware the Jubjub bird, and shun the frumious Bandersnatch. 'Twas brillig, and the slithy toves did gyre and gimble in the wabe. All mimsy were the borogroves, and the mome wraiths outgrabe.
The end.
Oh, what a splendid poem. Now can we tell a story about the Bandersnatch? I do love...
Now, dear Morgana, I believe our roaring fire seems to have departed.
Oh, well, next time. We should take the time our fire needs to grow once more to have tea with dear Alice.
I do believe you're right. All the best storytellers have a bit of madness to them. For now, honoured guest, we must say goodbye.
Yes, my friend, I do believe I see the crackle of a story on those flames, but for next time. The fire burns low, with stories ever glowing. Safe travels, my guests, and Mind the house, Ghost. We've had a talk with her that you are not allowed to stay.
Honored guests, come, follow me. You mustn't stay at the house too long, or you may become a permanent resident. Well, that's what Lady Morgana and Grandmaster Embers told me. Stay close behind, my guests. Whatever you do, don't answer any voices you hear on the way out. But do come back. Hearing the circle's stories brings me to life.